I'll just say good morning and welcome to the Get the Site Right webinar. I'm Nell Graham, the coordinator of the Parramatta River Catchment Group, and also presenting today is Nadia Young, our Communications Officer. I just want to let you know we are recording this today so that we can share it with those that couldn't attend. So firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of our land and waters that we're all meeting on today and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. So what are we covering today? We're going to go through the history of the Get the Site Right campaign, the aim of the campaign, the impacts of runoff on our waterways, results over time and what's involved to participate, reporting mechanisms and promotional materials, and what training we've got offering for council officers at the moment. And then we'll also take some questions. If everyone could mute their microphone, that would be greatly appreciated. So if you have any questions today, please use the chat mechanism and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. We'll open it up for questions. So the Parramatta River Catchment Group are an alliance of local and state government agencies working together with the community to make the Parramatta River swimmable by 2025. Our vision is for a world-class river that is healthy and resilient to the shocks and stresses of a changing climate, with improved water quality, not only for swimming, but for a healthy living river. And that's why back in 2016, we launched the Get the Site Right campaign. And firstly, with just PRCG member councils and the EPA. But now it's grown to include the 4 of the Sydney Basin catchment management groups and approximately 20 councils participating on a regular basis. But so we're really thrilled to be welcoming 6 new councils on board, as well as Water New South Wales, to participate in this year's May Get the Site Right campaign. We're really happy that this campaign is growing across the Sydney Basin. So what is the Get the Site Right campaign? We target erosion and sediment controls on building and construction sites across Greater Sydney. It's an education and compliance program with an emphasis on education. The aim is to build compliance rates and increase understanding in the industry about why this is so important. As we said, the emphasis is on education and awareness raising, but regulatory action is sometimes required for repeat non-compliant sites. So the impacts of sediment-laden runoff can be catastrophic. It not only leads to the smothering of aquatic plants and animals, erosion of creek and river banks, but reduces water quality for recreation uses such as swimming. We like to promote the Parramatta River Master Plan mission about the community wanting to swim in the river when we visit our sites to give that local perspective. So you can incorporate your own visions and missions for your local government area in your messaging. So here's a snapshot of the data that we've collected over the last 6 years. And even though the participation rates have increased over time, we've maintained the consistency in data collection using our template. And so it does highlight that we've increased and maintained improvement over time. In that bolded middle section, you can see we started at 47% and it has increased in October 2020 to 74%. But there was a slight reduction during the COVID lockdown, probably due to builders not being able to access their sites and maintain their erosion and sediment control devices. So we believe that this campaign has been successful due to our consistent messaging and the repeat visits that we have, and that consistency over time, that developers hear that same message, and we're getting that compliance rates. I'm going to introduce Nadia Young now, and she's going to talk through some more of the campaign.
Thanks, Nell. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yep.
Great. Okay, awesome. I've been fortunate enough to work on all but the first of the Get the Site Right campaigns, and it's been wonderful to see just how the campaign has evolved and grown over the last few years, and also appreciate the high level of interest and support that we continue to get from all the participating agencies. So I'm thrilled that we have 6 new councils and Water New South Wales joining us for the May campaign. It's just awesome. So I'm just going to provide a brief overview of how the campaign works. We run 2 campaigns a year. The first one's held in May. It's a month-long campaign when councils conduct inspections at any time during that month as part of their usual regulatory activities. We also hold a dedicated Blitz Day in the 3rd week of May. And this year that's going to be held on Thursday, the 19th of May. And that's when we encourage all the councils to go out in force and conduct inspections on the same day. The EPA and Department of Planning and Environment also take part in the day, and they mainly inspect some of the larger industrial sites and state significant projects. In the past, they've also accompanied some of the councils out on site visits as well. While it's up to each council as to how many inspections they want to conduct during the month, many councils conduct initial site inspections earlier in the month, and then they do a follow-up inspection of those non-compliant sites on Blitz Day. And this information is really useful so that we can see if there's been an improvement in compliance between the initial and repeat visits. Then in October, we hold a follow-up Blitz Day, or Blitz Week rather. And the purpose of this second smaller campaign is to maintain awareness throughout the year and follow up on non-compliant sites. Councils are able to go out anytime during that week to conduct inspections. If that week isn't convenient, we'll also accept data from any inspections that are conducted during October. To support both of those campaigns, we provide educational and promotional resources, which I'll talk a little bit more about shortly. So just moving on to how we report on the results, it's worth reiterating that Get the Site Right is promoted as an education and compliance campaign. It's not intended to be a revenue raising exercise. So while we do report on the total number of fines issued, it's not a big focus of the campaign. We also report on the collective inspection results and don't break it down by council. So we just want to reassure councils that we don't publicly share your individual inspection data, and we only use it for analysis purposes. However, councils are of course free to report on their own individual inspection results as part of the campaign if they want. Another important thing to note is that we don't name and shame individual non-compliant developers or sites in any of our reporting. So looking now at the key inspection data that we collate, the information that we ask councils to provide us with includes the number of sites inspected, if the site's compliant or not, the type of control issues on the site. An important one is the site manager's level of understanding of erosion and sediment controls. We like to understand if they know a little bit or a lot. If the site has a private or council certifier, and any regulatory action taken, including fines. A really important thing to note is that we report on the number of sites inspected, not the number of site inspections. And this is because throughout the month, many councils may inspect a non-compliant site more than once. And the aim is that through targeted education, the sites will hopefully improve their erosion and sediment controls between visits. So that means that we only include the last inspection for that site in the reporting data. However, it's really important that councils provide data on all visits to that site so that we can measure the rate of improvement in compliance between site visits. So we'll just show you what the reporting template looks like, which is already on the screen. So as you can see, most of the information there is what you'd be recording as part of your regular site inspections anyway, such as the name of the developer or builder, the site address and the size of the development. And look, we understand that each council has their own reporting systems, and it's going to take a little bit of work to fill out this template. But really, the more information you can provide us with, the more useful and meaningful the data analysis will be for reporting. So I'll just talk a little bit now about the campaign resources that are available. We've produced a suite of educational and promotional material for councils to use. We've just updated our erosion and sediment control leaflet and flyer that now shows detailed examples of compliant and non-compliant controls. And the flyer, the back of the flyer, can also double as a poster. So you can actually print and enlarge that and even laminate it perhaps, and so you can distribute it to your local builders. There's also space on both the leaflet and flyer for councils to add their own logo so they can brand it. Through your partner catchment groups, we'll provide a link to all these assets that you can either use online or to print in-house, or even print commercially if you want a nice snazzy brochure. We also provide a set of social media tiles for Facebook and Instagram, as well as suggested post content that your comms and media teams can use or adapt for your specific audience. We also distribute a media release in collaboration with the EPA, in which councils can include a quote from your spokesperson and send out to your local media and newspapers. While the catchment groups will share this material with your council comms teams, we ask all council regulatory staff to talk to your council comms departments and explain to them how your council is involved in this campaign, and then encourage them to promote it through your comms channels. We also have a campaign video for you to use, but unfortunately I think we're having issues with the audio. So you'll be able to see that when we send you the, oh no, we're going to see it without the audio. Okay. There's some really funky music that goes with it, guys. So, so you'll be able to listen to it when we send you the link to all the collateral. So just, I'll touch on briefly about some of the other events and initiatives that we're involved with to support the campaign. For example, in 2017, the catchment groups got a grant to host a stand at the Sydney Home Show. The Cooks River Alliance brought along their wonderful catchment model, which is a great draw card, especially for kids. And it was a wonderful way to engage with home builders and renovators about the importance of erosion and sediment controls on their sites and the impact of runoff on their local waterways. Last year, we established a relationship with the Master Builders Association and helped them to develop an online training module for their members. And we regularly provide them with information on the campaign for their comms channels. We're also looking for new ways to educate builders on best practice erosion and sediment controls. And one idea we're considering at the moment, which is actually a suggestion of Blacktown councils, is an erosion and sediment control checklist. A large sign that can be printed onto core flute, I suspect, that we can send out to builders and to put on their sites to remind builders to check and maintain their controls regularly. We're also interested in doing more joint advocacy around the impact of runoff on our waterway health, and we're keen to engage with some of the other building industry associations, such as the private certifiers. So if you have any questions about how any of this campaign works, we can answer those at the end, but for now, I'll pass back to Nell. Thanks.
Thanks, Nadia. So I'm not sure if you're aware that we've organised some erosion and sediment control training that's coming up on the 26th and the 29th of April. So you'll need to book it in quickly if you're interested in doing this training. It's run by a professional organisation that have a really good skills in this area, and we've run the training before using this company and received really good feedback about the course, so we highly recommend it. It's a great refresher, or if you haven't had much experience in compliance on erosion and sediment control compliance, it's really worthwhile to undertake this training. And because we're able to offer this across multiple councils, it does provide good value for money for councils. So we've organised it, but you need to book in and pay for it yourself through your council. So it's coming up soon after Easter, so get in there and book it if you need to. So I'll just kind of end in summary and just talk about the benefits of the Get the Site Right campaign. So as we've mentioned, it's a regional campaign and now supported by 25 plus councils, the catchment groups, the Environmental Protection Authority and the Department of Planning and Environment. It provides flexibility for councils to participate based on your own capacity and resources. And it gives you access to that reporting template. But most importantly, a lot of consistent promotional and social media tiles and assets that you can get the message out there. And it does provide that consistent messaging that I've talked about, and I really think that helps to improve compliance rates across the building industry. And as Nadia mentioned before, it's that opportunity for joint advocacy on erosion and sediment control issues that really will help to improve our waterway health. So what I'm going to do is thank you for coming today, but also I'm going to come out of share screen to see if you have any questions that we can provide you the answers to. So I'll open it up for questions. Has anyone put anything in the chat? Happy to promote the training through the Cooks River Alliance. So yeah, I think we have sent out some details already to partner councils, but we'll send it back to you, Andrew. Again, send it out to you.
Yeah, it's a good idea because I have had what I call Mad March with a festival and a conference, so my inbox
Okay, yeah.
is just annihilated. It's done.
Yeah, all right. Well, so we'll resend that out to everyone just so you know that it's there and you can go to the registration link. There's also a question here about what is the cost of the training. So I can't recall, Nadia, what it is per council officer. Do you remember? She's looking it up.
I thought she walked off.
No.
Neil, I do. Neil, Leon Muskell, Campbelltown City Council. Just one more
Yep.
question.
Sure.
In relation to this consultation with our builders around the area, is there any funding opportunities or availability for us to host something similar to a builders breakfast, where we can invite people in and actually sit them down, and have a cup of coffee and a bacon egg roll and say, hey, this is what this is what we're experiencing. This is a little bit of education, and this is what we're going to be doing in the future.
Leon, I thought that did you say you're from Blacktown?
No, Campbelltown.
Oh, Campbelltown.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Because Blacktown Council does do something, but they have a dedicated officer to do that. Look, it's something that we've been considering, but we don't have any funding. So the Parramatta River Catchment Group is supported by our member fees, like most catchment groups. But it's definitely something that's worthwhile. Perhaps if there's wider interest for this, we could put in an environmental trust education grant or something like that to develop a program that we could roll out across
I was
councils.
thinking that maybe rather than every individual council hitting up the EPA, whether we could do it through this group, and then obviously if we're successful in the funding, then it can be distributed across the councils that way to do a bit. So particularly now, budget's done in January each year. We sort of missed the boat here for this year. So to pick 5 to 10 grand out of a budget, and but I think it's really worthwhile that we sort of do as much as we can to get the education component first as well.
Definitely.
And
No,
that's
it's a
fine.
great idea. A great idea, Leon. And look, I guess that's the beauty of working across with our catchment groups, because as the catchment groups, we come together and we discuss things like this, and so we can help facilitate that. Um, I know that the Environmental Trust education grants, they're quite competitive, but also they come out, I think, in September. So it is something that we could look at for this year, applying for to, get it happening the following year. So we'll put it on our list of things to discuss with our catchment groups, and then put out something wider, I suppose, to all the councils to see who would be interested in participating.
Thanks, Neil.
Yeah. So Nadia says it's 150 plus GST per person for that training. And so we're holding 2 sessions. So they're not, it's not 2 sessions, but 2 separate sessions over 2 different days. Have we got any more questions about how the campaign runs, or?
No, perhaps not a question. It's Nathan here from the New South Wales EPA, but
Oh, hi, Nathan.
as you said, sorry, I got a bit of a cold, so excuse me if I start coughing. So obviously the EPA does support the Get the Site Right program, and one thing that we do each year, as you've already mentioned, is that support work with councils. And what we do is we try and pair EPA officers with councils that kind of stick their hand up and are interested in doing that kind of partnership work on that Blitz day. And I think given the council officers that we have present here, it's a great opportunity to kind of point this out and to mention this. In the past, it's been mainly focused around Parramatta River catchment group councils, but we are interested in expanding that amongst the other catchment groups. I think we've already mentioned this in passing to Georges River Council, but for example, Cooks River Council could be part of it as well. Easy for us at the moment with a metro focus, but we can even look at expanding beyond that if needed to. So for those councils that are interested in that sort of participation, I'd recommend that you try and get in touch with us. I'll stick my email address in the chat after I've finished talking. But yeah, get in touch with us early. This year we are a bit constrained, unfortunately, because a lot of our officers have been diverted towards the flood cleanup and activities around that. But I think that the council partnership work is something that we can do that is really quite valuable, and also does a great lot of good just in terms of the partnership work as well as supporting the program itself.
Excellent. Thanks, Nathan. I'm sure that there's interest here. I think Campbelltown's put their hand up already, so
Excellent.
that's great. Someone's always has asked how long is the training? I think it's just a morning session, maybe 4 hours. Is that right, Nadia?
Yes, it's a half-day session.
Half day, yeah. So
there may be some councils that haven't received this information because they're not part of a member catchment group. So maybe if those councils can maybe in the chat group let me know who they are, and provide an email address, I can forward you the details. So
yeah, definitely happy to send that out to everyone because it's really excellent training. Yeah, all right. So Leon, can you put your email address in there and we'll send it to you? Good, thanks. All right. So we're nearly coming to the end. And so if you have any more questions, now's the time. And Nathan's put his in the chat, so maybe we can send that through to everyone who participated today as well. We've probably got your email addresses anyway on the record of this meeting.
And I was going to say, today, this afternoon, I'll be distributing all the promotional educational material. So everyone will see a copy of that in the videos and access to all that information. So I'll attach a copy of the workshop flyer as well. So.
Okay. Any further questions? All right. Well, look, I'll just say thanks for coming along today, and also thank you all the councils who are participating in the program. I've got, Goulburn Council, Goulburn Mulwaree Council is interested in the training, so that's great. We'll send it through to you. And all the new councils that are coming on board, if you have any further questions, look, just reach out to Nadia or myself because we're happy to answer any questions and provide you with guidance any way that we can so that you can really participate in this program and campaign to the fullest. So welcome everyone and happy May Get the Site Right campaign. All right, so that's the end. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Nal. Thanks, Nadia.